Assalamu alaikum. This is Mohammed Singh welcoming you to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Government to launch a farmer card nationwide within short time. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman gives direction. Farmers will get all benefits of protection from farmer card, says Information Minister Shongbad. Administrators for 6 city corporations appointed in accordance with existing rules, says LGRD Minister Major Islam Alongir. Aminul Islam appointed as new Chief Prosecutor of International Crimes Tribunal. The prices of consumer goods decreasing in Raater in port city of Chattogram. Diabetics can fast following rules of eating and resting, advise physicians. Further talks between US and Iran to take place on Thursday amid spiraling tensions. And West Indies score 187 runs, losing 3 wickets in 15.3 overs against Zimbabwe in Super 8 match of T20 World Cup at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. An interministerial meeting on launching farmer card aimed at ensuring fair prices for crops produced by farmers was held today in the meeting room of the Cabinet Division. The Prime Minister Tarique Rahman presided over the meeting. The meeting was attended by the concerned ministers and state ministers. Information and Broadcasting Minister Shongbad said the government is going to launch smart farmer card for all farmers across the country alongside the family card. He made the disclosure today after a high-level meeting held at the cabinet meeting room of the Bangladesh Secretariat. The minister said the farmer card will be distributed to all the farmers nationwide directly at the quickest possible time in accordance with the order of the Prime Minister. He said the Prime Minister has directed the concerned ministers to begin work immediately on distributing the smart farmer cards. Shongbad said through this card, farmers will receive government services directly and the interference of the middlemen in the procurement of agriculture inputs will be stopped. He noted that the government had previously decided to introduce the smart farmer card and Monday's meeting marked the first formal step toward implementation. Work will now begin through a pilot project, the minister said, adding that the initiative will be rolled out in phases nationwide. A Chinese ambassador to Bangladesh, Yao Wen, paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Tarique Rahman. The Chinese envoy met the Premier at the Cabinet Division in the Secretariat today. During the meeting, the Prime Minister and the Chinese envoy discussed different issues related to bilateral interest. Prime Minister's advisor Humayun Kabir was present in the meeting. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman attended his office at the Armed Forces Division, AFD, in Dhaka cantonment for the first time today. Prime Minister Tarique Rahman arrived at the Armed Forces Division at 9 a.m. as the chiefs of the 3 services welcomed him. The Premier exchanged pleasantries with the chiefs of the 3 services. As part of the day's program, Tarique Rahman adorned Lieutenant General Mir Mushfiqur Rahman and Major General Qaisar Rashid Chaudhary with their new rank badges at his office. A Prime Minister Defence Advisor Brigadier General retired Dr. A.K.M. Samsul Islam, Chief of Army Staff General Wakaruzzaman, Chief of Naval Staff Admiral M. Nuzul Hassan and Chief of Air Staff Air Chief Marshal Hassan Mahmud Khan, Defence Secretary Mohammad Ashrafuddin and a Prime Minister's Press Secretary Abu Abdullah M. Saleh and Additional Press Secretary Atikur Rahman Ruman were present on the occasion. LGRD Minister and BNP Secretary General Major Fakhrul Islam Alamgir said, administrators for 6 city corporations including Dhaka North and South City corporations have been appointed in accordance with existing rules and regulations. He said the local government elections would be held on time, adding that this election will certainly be given priority. The minister informed this to the journalists at a meeting at the BNP Central Office in the capital's Neapolitan today. Mr. Fakhrul said, a Prime Minister Tarique Rahman made a place in the hearts of the countrymen in a very short time. He hoped BNP will build a happy and prosperous Bangladesh under Tarique Rahman's leadership. A BNP Secretary General further said the BNP government is working for a new Bangladesh. Responding to a question on finalizing candidates for the reserved seats for women, BNP Secretary said a priority would be given to those who are closely connected to the people and actively engaged in the party, noting that a parliament will make the final call when the parliamentary session begins. The government has relieved Chief Prosecutor Muhammad Tajul Islam of the post of Chief Prosecutor of the International Crimes Tribunal. Amir Islam has been appointed as the new Chief Prosecutor in his place. The Ministry of Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs issued a notification in this regard today. The interim government appointed Tajul Islam as the Chief Prosecutor with the rank of Attorney General in early September of 2024. Under his leadership until the election, the prosecution submitted 24 formal charges for crimes against humanity committed in July-August 2024. Currently, the trial of these cases is underway in Tribunal 1 and Tribunal 2. The verdicts in 3 cases have already been announced. The 26 people are convicted. In the announced verdicts include ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, former Home Minister Asaduজ্জামান Khan Kamal and senior police officials. Besides, 2 other cases including the murder case of Abu Sayyid, the first martyr of the July uprising, are awaiting verdicts. The verdict in a case of crimes against humanity committed in Rampura is scheduled for March 4. Meanwhile, several cases filed during the Awami League government on charges of disappearance, murder and torture are also being tried at the tribunal. A former army officer Joel Hassan and several former MPs and ministers of the banned Awami League are facing trial as accused in these cases. The prices of essential commodities, including consumer goods, have started to decrease as the upward market of Ramadan has been bridled. The prices of chicken and beef are decreasing. The prices of green chilies have also decreased. The market for Iftar and Sehri items during the holy month of Ramadan is stable. The prices of green chilies, which had been almost double the price, are decreasing. The dates start at 180 taka per kg in the retail market. The chickpeas are available for 80 taka per kg. However, the prices of lemons for sherbet are still high. All fasting people are attracted to protein and non-vegetarian food during Sehri. Although the prices of beef increased at the beginning of Ramadan, they are now decreasing. The prices of upward-looking chicken are decreasing slightly. However, ordinary consumers felt that they are having a hard time buying chicken. The prices of raw vegetables are also decreasing. The rice market has been stable for the last few months, but the upward trend in fish prices cannot be stopped. At the beginning of the month of Ramadan, customers were shocked to see the upward trend in consumer goods. However, except for a handful of food items like fish, lemon, chicken, and green chilies, consumers are breathing a sigh of relief in purchasing most food items. Over 60-year-old diabetes patient Imam has been suffering from the disease for many years. Every year, when Ramadan comes, he feels sad, thinking that he may not be able to fast anymore. He suffers greatly from fluctuation in blood sugar in the month of Ramadan. Sometimes his hands and feet tremble due to low blood sugar, which is called hypoglycemia, and sometimes his blood sugar skyrockets after eating too much during iftar. But this year the story is different. This time he approached his doctor early. For diabetes, Ramadan is basically a battle with the dining table and glucometer. Physicians say that checking blood sugar regularly while fasting is not a reason to break the fast, but rather it is essential for life. Measuring of blood sugar at least twice a day, once of the afternoon and another time after iftar. Eating moderately and drinking enough water from iftar to sahri, and if the body feels very bad, seeking medical help immediately are the important medical advices for the diabetics during Ramadan. Under Killa Sir Shahjahan Mosque, a witness to the history of the Chattogram, is a unique monument of Mughal architecture. It takes a different look at the time of iftar during the month of Ramadan. Every day, thousands of people break their fasting here, forgetting the difference between the rich and the poor, sitting in a row and breaking their fasting is a tradition that continues here for hundreds of years. The hustle and bustle starts after the Ashr prayers. Special iftar items are cooked on corn drones. This huge event is organized on completely voluntary basis, starting from the staffs of the mosques to general students work here as volunteers. As the afternoon passes, the courtyard of the mosque fills up before evening. The bond of brotherhood of Islam binds each other here, as this huge event is run with the donation of local businessmen and the cooperation of the mosque committee, which exposes a gathering of spiritual peace. Now, international news. Oman's Foreign Minister Badr al-Busaidi has confirmed that further talks between the United States and Iran will take place on Thursday amid spiraling tensions between the two countries. Al-Busaidi said in a social media post on Sunday, pleased to confirm US-Iran negotiations are now set for Geneva this Thursday, with a positive push to go to the extra mile towards finalizing the deal. The announcement comes as the U.S. continues to amass military assets in the Middle East, raising concerns about an all-out war against Iran. Hours before Oman's announcement, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Tehran was ready to put in place a full monitoring mechanism to guarantee the peaceful nature of its nuclear program and its tensions. Asked by Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan why Iran would want to pursue enrichment on its soil rather than buy enriched uranium from abroad. Given the U.S. military buildup and risks of an escalation, Araghchi said the issue was a matter of dignity and pride for Iranians. Pakistan said it had carried out strikes against multiple militant hideouts along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border region. At least 70 militants were killed in the strikes. A Pakistan Deputy Interior Minister Talal Chaudhry told GEU News without providing evidence for his claim. A Pakistan state-run media reported later on Sunday that the toll from the strikes had risen to 80 militants. The spokesperson of the Taliban regime in Kabul, Zabiullah Mujahid, said in a statement on social media platform X that the attacks killed and wounded dozens, including women and children. He called Pakistan's claim of killing 70 militants inaccurate. Islamabad did not say precisely which areas it targeted or provided international details. The Afghan defense minister said in a statement that various civilian areas in the provinces of Nangarhar and Paktika in eastern Afghanistan, including a religious madrasa and multiple civilian homes, were hit. The ministry deemed the strikes a violation of Afghanistan's airspace by the Pakistani military regime. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said, Putin has started World War III and must be stopped. Zelensky told this in a recent interview with the British media outlet BBC. When BBC met this weekend in the government headquarters in Kiev, Zelensky said, far from losing, Ukraine would end the war victorious. He was firmly against paying the price for a ceasefire deal demanded by President Vladimir Putin, which is withdrawing from strategic ground that Russia has failed to capture despite sacrificing tens of thousands of soldiers. Zelensky told that Putin has already started World War III, and the only answer was intense military and economic pressure to force him to step back. When asked about Russia's demand for Ukraine to hand over the 20% of the eastern region of Donetsk that it still holds, as well as more land in the southern regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia, Zelensky said he doesn't look at it simply as land. He sees it as abandonment, weakening their positions, abandoning hundreds of thousands of their people who live there. Zelensky said victory meant restoring normal lives for Ukrainians and ending the killing. But the wider view of the victory he presented was all about a global threat that he says comes from Putin. A year ago, Zelensky visited the White House and received a reception one senior Western diplomat described as a pre-planned public diplomatic mugging from Donald Trump and his Vice President J.D. Vance. Trump was sending the strongest possible signal that the era of support Zelensky and Ukraine had relied on from President Joe Biden was over. The U.S. President stopped almost all shipments of military aid to Ukraine, but the U.S. still provides vital intelligence, and European countries are sending billions buying weapons from the Americans to give to Ukraine.